Tesla used to be the kingpin of electric cars. They had the advantage of incredible software, world-class assisted driving tech that was nearly self-driving, the incredible acceleration you used to get exclusively in supercars, and they had a practical range with a charging infrastructure to back it up. Basically, Tesla had the total package. In recent years though, Tesla has slowly been losing its selling points, with other manufacturers providing EVs that also have usable range and better software and self-driving technology. The only decisive selling point Tesla still has in its once impressive arsenal is its charging infrastructure. And now they're just giving it away. That's right, it's no longer Teslas versus non-Teslas when it comes to charging. The playing field has been leveled. But what does this mean for Tesla's future? Was this really a good decision on their part, or will this be a new business strategy? All I can say now is you can charge at a Tesla charging station if you don't have a Tesla, but there is a catch. Hello people of the internet, I'm Nico, a semi-enthusiastic Twitter user and of the opinion that it was better before it got Elon Musked. In this video I talk Tesla and what's going on with their decision to let non-Tesla drivers use their chargers. The big question you may have now is, how do these new Tesla charging stations even look like? And the quick answer is exactly the same as they did before. For one thing, Tesla only added a little adapter attachment thing that locks onto the charging cable itself, kind of like how a vacuum cleaner accessory locks onto a vacuum cleaner. And this attachment does not suck. Obviously, since it's not a vacuum cleaner. That sucky joke aside, the attachment is a simple and clever little thing. All you do is just push in the cable, which unlocks the attachment from its holding place, and it locks itself onto the charging cable. Then it's just a matter of plugging it into your own car, which will present itself with a problem, as you'll see. The other change you may notice is that most Tesla charging stations don't have this adapter. That's right, only some select charging stations have been retrofitted, and you don't need the Tesla app to find out where they are. If you're like me and don't have a Tesla account, you can just go online onto their website and look at their map, and I guarantee your first thought will be, that's less chargers than I thought would be there. In all of California, there are 2 retrofitted charging stations, and New York has a few more, and that's it. No other states have retrofitted chargers, and there are also none outside of the US. But I'm more intrigued by the specific locations that Tesla have chosen. None of them are in large city centers. I would have expected some to be in Fremont, California, just because that's close to their main factory, but no. There's one halfway in between San Jose and Santa Cruz in Scotts Valley, and there's one outside of Sacramento in Pacerville right off of the El Dorado Freeway. New York is a similar story with none in New York City itself. The closest ones are one way out on Long Island and one in Brewster. The remaining chargers are scattered around the cities of Syracuse, Albany, and Rochester. Now, I have a theory as to why they did this, but before I can get to that, there are a few problems to cover which you may encounter if you take your non-Tesla EV to a Tesla supercharger. At first glance, you won't notice anything that would seem to put you at a disadvantage, but when you start to look at the ergonomics of the parking and charging situation, then you'll notice that it's certainly set up for a Tesla. Marcus Brownlee made a great video explaining his experience charging a Rivian there, which I'll link in the description. But before you go and watch that video, you should know the 2 principal issues facing non-Tesla drivers. Firstly, the chargers themselves are set up to take advantage of the charge port always being on the driver's side rear. That's why you will see a charger on the side like this, and why the cables are pretty short. As you can see, it works fine for the Rivian, which has the charging port very close to the end of the vehicle, but for any vehicle that has the charger on the side, closer to the driver's door, like a Lucid Air, Porsche Taycan, or a Ford Mustang Mach-E, it may be difficult to charge. Or in the case of the F-150 Lightning, it doesn't work at all because the cable doesn't reach. The other thing you will find is that your EV may not charge at the rate it is capable of. It probably won't be unusably slow, but where a Tesla can preheat the battery and then make the best of what the charger itself is capable of, A regular EV probably won't charge super fast. Marques Brownlee mentioned this in his video. The Rivian R1T he was using to charge can use a 350 kilowatt charger, but at the Tesla charging station it was only receiving about 150 kilowatts. Now that's not necessarily a bad figure, and there's probably more reasons involved than it just not being a Tesla, but it's still not an optimal figure. So it's clear that this is just a testing phase to see how the chargers get used and to see if they want to expand on adding charger compatibility with other EVs. And I can go ahead and tell you, they probably won't be expanding quickly. First and foremost, Tesla's main priority will be their own customers who bought their cars. And since the ergonomics of charging a non-Tesla is a big problem, they likely won't be retrofitting any charging stations that are already crowded with just Teslas. Having a bunch of EVs that park in the wrong spot or park diagonally just to reach the chargers that were obviously designed for Teslas would probably make the experience of having a Tesla worse for customers. So for popular charging stations, I wouldn't expect a retrofit anytime soon. However, for rural areas, you may well expect charging stations to be retrofitted if Tesla decides it's worth it. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla does decide it's worth it. Here's my theory. Tesla makes most of their money from selling their cars, but they also make the experience better by collecting data from their customers. And by opening up their charging network, Tesla now has a new profit and data collection opportunity from a large pool of new customers. How does this work? Well, you can still download the Tesla app and create an account even if you don't have a Tesla, which you might do in order to find out where these newly accessible chargers are. That's where they will collect the data, things like charge times, when during the day the chargers see the most traffic, and whatever else they want to know. As for the profit strategy, well, Tesla already has this extensive charging network, which they know is more desirable than the notoriously less reliable public chargers. And with more EVs on the road today, there is an increasingly large customer base from which they can collect data and money every time they use those Tesla chargers. Now, it probably won't be a big breadwinner. Producing electric vehicles is going to be their main profit strategy, but it is at least an extra source of revenue which they can then reinvest in expanding the charging network further. That's only speculation, but if I were in Tesla's position, I would absolutely use those chargers to turn a little extra profit. And if it meant adding little adapters to add on a large customer base, seems like a golden ticket to me. Regardless of Tesla's intent though, it is nice that they are opening up their chargers to non-Teslas. It will certainly help incentivize the purchase of other EVs. But it is clear that Tesla knows that the charging network is a big selling point for them, and they won't give it away to everyone just yet. If you want to know some issues Tesla is facing with servicing their cars, I recommend this video here. Until next time, people of the internet, peace out.